most amazing artist. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Welcome to a brand new project. This project is called Folk Art Landscapes, and this is an original lesson by Deep Space Sparkle. She has this awesome resource, and I just wanted to go ahead and give credit to her because I am going to be following her steps to completing this beautiful landscape. Today, to start off our landscape, you're going to need a couple things. I have a piece of paper. This is a white piece of paper, and it's a rectangle. While you're drawing today, we want to make sure that our paper is vertical. I also have a pencil. I have an eraser in case I make any mistakes, and I have a Sharpie to go over my drawing once I'm finished drawing it. And that is everything we're going to need today, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do is, of course, write my name and then flip it over so now my name is on the back. Once your name is on the back, you're ready to start drawing. Now, this is going to be a how to draw video, so you can pause the video and grab your materials now if you want to draw along with me, or you could watch this video all the way through and then draw your picture. It's whichever way you want to do it. However, this is great because if I'm going too fast or you forgot a step or you missed a step, you can just pause the video or rewind it to catch back up. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find the middle of my paper. It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, but we don't want it up at the top and we don't want it at the bottom, so somewhere in the middle we are going to draw a small square. Okay, and of course while I'm drawing, I am drawing super duper light. Draw it light until you get it right. I'm using soft, sketchy motions. When I say soft, I mean I'm barely touching my paper with my pencil. If I were to draw too hard, then my pencil line would be very dark, and if I make a mistake, it's going to be very hard to erase it later. Okay, so what I'm doing with my pencils, I'm barely touching the paper and I'm going back and forth to use those nice little sketchy motions. And if I make a mistake, then it's a lot easier to erase. So just keep that in mind while you're doing your drawing today. Draw it light until you get it right. So I have my little square in the middle, and then on each side of my square, I'm going to draw two rectangles. So we want our rectangles to be a little bit taller than our square. This is going to represent the farmhouse of our landscape. And now on top of my rectangles, I'm going to draw a triangle by using just a couple diagonal lines. It's looking like a little castle right now. And right here, I'm going to use a horizontal line to connect those two triangles, and that's going to represent our roof. And now you can pretty much add whatever details you want to your little house. I think I'm going to add a little fireplace, a little chimney up there. I want to add a couple of lines so that I know that this is the roof, and maybe I want to add some lines above my triangles to represent the roof on top of this part of my house. So I'm just drawing some rectangles on top of those little triangles right there. And I actually want to erase this line, the bottom of my triangle. I want to erase that line because I want that triangle and rectangle to be connected. So I'm just going to erase that line and just take my time and add whatever details you would like to. Of course, we need a front door, so I'm going to draw a rectangle down at the bottom, maybe a couple squares for windows, and maybe some windows on the sides of my house too. You don't have to use square windows. Maybe you want your windows to be circles or hearts or something. You can get creative with the details on your house. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that house. Now I'm going to start drawing my landscape all around this house. And to do that, I'm going to start down here at the bottom of my paper. And sometimes when I'm drawing, just to get an idea of where I want my pencil to go, I draw with my finger first. So I'm going to do some large hills down here at the bottom of my paper, and I'll start on the left side. We don't want it to be too big of a curve because then it's going to go over our house. You want to go underneath your house, start towards the bottom, Your curve will start on the left side and it'll go down towards the bottom. And I'm gonna draw this very light just in case I make a mistake. Then I can erase it later. Now, I think that's a little bit too big, so thank goodness I drew it light, so I can erase it a lot easier. So my hill was way too big, so I'm just gonna come down a little bit from where my first hill was, and I'm gonna draw a curve. And that seems about right. Okay, and now I'm gonna draw another hill on the other side. You can use your finger to make sure they're the same height if you want to. So I'm going at the top of this hill I just drew all the way across, so I know my next hill is gonna start right here. And it's gonna come down, and once it meets my other hill that I drew on the left side, it will stop. So we have two curved lines to create our foreground. That's everything in the front of our picture. Now we are going to draw a hill above our house, and I'm going to use my finger again because we don't want to draw this hill all the way towards the top of our paper. This curved line that we're about to draw is just going to go right over top of our house. So it's not going to go through our house, it's going to go right above it. And this is going to be our middle ground. The reason why I wanted my curved line to not be too far up on my paper is because up here we're going to draw our horizon line. The horizon line in a landscape is where the land meets the sky. And I am going to come up from my curve, and I think I want this line to be a little bit wavy. So I'm going to take my pencil, do some wavy lines. And there is my horizon line. That's also everything in the background. It's going to be up there towards the top of my paper. So we have our foreground, everything in the front. We have our middle ground, everything in the middle. And we have our background laid out. So once you have your foreground hills, your middle ground, and your background, we are ready to move on to the next step. And we're going to divide these larger sections into smaller sections. We want these hills to be rolling. So we're going to be using curved lines, not straight lines. We're going to use curvy lines. And the first line that I want to do is I want to do a line that my house sits on, because right now it looks like it's just kind of floating in the air. So I'm going to draw a line that my house can sit on, and I can start drawing some curved lines up here at the top. We want them to be curved, not straight, because then our landscape won't look very natural. And you can add these lines wherever you want to. And while I'm dividing this space up a little bit, I am not going to be adding too many curved lines, because then our landscape might get a little bit confusing. So in each of these larger sections, I'm just drawing maybe one or two curvy lines. Okay, so there is my landscape. Notice I didn't use a bunch of curvy lines to make my spaces very small. I just wanted to divide those larger spaces up a little bit. And now I'm ready to take my Sharpie. Now, if you have a really teeny tiny house, a skinny Sharpie might be better, but I'm gonna try my luck with just a regular Sharpie, and I'm gonna go over all of these lines. So I'm basically just outlining my pencil drawing, and I will be right back to show you the next step. I just finished outlining all my pencil lines with Sharpie, and now I'm gonna take an eraser and erase any extra pencil lines that might still be showing, because I am working on my best craftsmanship here. I don't want all those messy lines to show, so I'm just gonna erase them and get rid of them because we don't need them anymore. And the last thing we're going to do today is we are going to make these lines a little bit thicker. And to do that, we are going to take our Sharpie and we're going to draw parallel lines that run right next to each other. So I just follow that line that I drew, and these two lines right here, they are parallel because they don't cross over each other. They just walk right next to each other, and they're going in the same direction. So I know those are parallel lines. After you draw these parallel lines, we are going to fill in that space, and this creates a much thicker line, which will create more of a folk art feel to our artwork. So let's look at that again. On each line, I'm going to draw a parallel line right next to it. You don't want these two lines to be touching each other because they are parallel. We're just drawing a line right next to it, and then we're going to color in that small space right in between our parallel lines. Okay, so let's do one more together. I'm going to draw a parallel line right next to this curve. Make sure they don't cross and they're going in the same direction, and then fill in that little space in between the parallel lines. So I'm going to do this for all of these curvy lines inside of my landscape. I'm not going to do it to my house though, because that's already really tiny, and if I make these lines any more thick, then all those details are just going to bleed together. So don't do this to your house, only do it to all the lines around your house. I'm going to speed it up because I think you guys are catching on, and I'll be right back to show you what it looks like so far. My landscape is all drawn and ready for next week. I hope you guys have a lot of fun drawing your landscape today, outlining it and making those lines a little bit more thick using parallel lines and then coloring them in and creating your foreground, middle ground, and background. We're going to add some more stuff to this landscape next week, so make sure you put it in a very safe place. I can't wait to see how your landscapes are turning out. I know they're going to be amazing because you guys are amazing. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.